It's 1 o'clock in the morning and I have leapt out of bed because I could see something glowing in the sky, and there is something really special happening in our skies over Scotland right now, and you have got a chance of seeing it in the next couple of nights. I'm out in my dressing gown, midges are eating me, and you might occasionally just hear that noise, which is long-eared owls, so don't worry, I'm not up alone. But I want to show you this. This is really exciting. This is a cloud which potentially has been made from something that could be billions of years old. What on earth am I talking about? I'm talking about these clouds here, which you might just see on the horizon. I'm going to show you some photos because they look a lot better in pictures. These are noctilucent clouds. Now you can forget the northern lights. Yes, okay, we can look forward to them in the winter. Seeing it at this time of year, extremely rare, but this is the next best thing. Noctilucent clouds are only visible for a few weeks of the year, although they're actually becoming more common in the summer. There's a theory behind that, we'll get to that in a minute. But how are these clouds made? Well, first of all, let's talk about why they're called noctilucent clouds. You know, we use Latin to name our clouds in meteorology: mammatus, cumulus, cumulonimbus, cirrus. And these words all tell you what the cloud looked like. Cirrus, hair-like, fibre-like, that's the high wispy clouds we get. Cumulus means cotton-like, fluffy-like. That's a cumulus cloud. These noctilucents, that means night shining. Now we know in Scotland it never gets properly dark at this time of year because the sun is just very low down on the horizon. It's going round the other side of the earth. But because of the way the earth is tilted at this time of year, enough of that light just gets over the North Pole, and that's why our northern horizon never gets completely dark. But because of the angle of the sun on the other side of the earth, that sunlight is angled and it hits clouds which are extremely high. These clouds are going to blow your mind because, wait until I tell you the facts about them. These clouds are about 50 to 60 miles up. They're on the edge of space, the mesosphere. Now, you need two ingredients to get clouds. We need water vapour and we need dust for the water to attach to make the clouds. Now, water vapour, where does that come from? Well, some of it potentially from the lower atmosphere, some of it also from chemical reactions in the higher atmosphere. But the most interesting thing about these noctilucent clouds is the dust. And this is where the billions of years old comes from, because the particles that make up this cloud are potentially from meteors that have entered the Earth's atmosphere. As those rocks break up, they leave debris and dust in the upper atmosphere. Volcanic eruptions, which blast glass and rocks miles into our atmosphere, and some of that gets trapped in the upper atmosphere. Potentially even rockets that have been sent into space, they leave some debris behind in exhaust. So when you look at these clouds and when you see them, this is why they are so special. It's because they're potentially made up from meteor rocks, they're potentially made up from volcanic rock, they're potentially made up from leftover bits of fuel from space shuttles. So these are incredible clouds to go out and spot. Now, we are seeing more of them in climate change. But wait a minute. We are talking 50 to 60 miles up, where the temperature is probably about minus 120, minus 130. So it's extremely cold up there. Now, remember I said water vapour? Well, it's actually ice crystals, and part of the reason they're illuminating and glowing in the sky is because the sun is shining onto those ice crystals and reflecting them like small mirrors. And that's why you get this glowing effect in the sky. I say it looks a lot better in photos. But the reason that we're seeing more of them in the summer is because, have a think about global warming. Global warming is about us putting more gases into our atmosphere, which is then trapping more of the heat at the surface. So as you trap more and more heat at the surface, the higher atmosphere is actually getting colder, because it's a little bit like a radiator. If you think before we put all the pollution into the atmosphere, more of the heat was actually radiating back into space, but we're trapping more of it at the surface now, so the surface is getting warmer. That means the higher atmosphere is getting colder because it's not getting that warmth radiating from Earth. So as the upper atmosphere gets colder, we see more of these clouds, but they're only illuminated during the summer. And there is a chance over the next couple of weeks of seeing them, but be quick, because as those darker nights start to come in, we'll lose the chance of seeing them. So forget the northern lights just now. This is the next best thing. Get out there, look north, and look for the noctilucent clouds.